think you're genuinely ready to marry a 36-year-old man? And I know you'll say I do.
One man, 25 women, one rose, and somehow that was enough to launch a cultural empire. No compatibility tests, no psychological screening, just a guy with a jawline and a mansion full of desperate optimism. Welcome to The Bachelor, where love is real, champagne is cheap, and red flags are just part of the decor. It felt revolutionary. Helicopter rides, hot tub confessions, and rose ceremonies so dramatic they made funerals look chill.
I feel like you give reactions. Your reactions are a little bit a layup.
In America, we were obsessed. The first finale pulled in 18 million viewers. By Trista and Ryan's wedding, 26 million. Two strangers married on live TV. And people believed in love again, or at least in primetime ratings. This was the golden era, before influencers, before obvious scripted drama, before personal brands. It had everything: tears, villains, and exotic dates sponsored by travel agencies that no longer exist. The Bachelor wasn't just a show, it was a belief system. We didn't care how real it was. We just wanted to believe that if a man in a suit could find love in 6 weeks surrounded by cameras, maybe we could too.
A whole different person, and it's just so artificial.
Spoiler, we couldn't. But man, it was a beautiful lie. To understand The Bachelor, you have to understand the early 2000s. America was in its low-rise genes and emotional repression era. Reality TV had just discovered it could exploit people's feelings on a budget, and network execs were foaming at the mouth for cheap content that looked expensive. Enter Mike Fleiss, a man who looked at Survivor and thought, what if we remove the island and just keep the elimination trauma? And so, in March 2002, The Bachelor was born. A Frankenstein monster stitched together from soap opera tropes, beauty pageants, and a light dusting of Stockholm Syndrome. The premise was simple: one man, 20+ women, and a 6-week countdown to a forced engagement. Because what could go wrong when you combine emotional vulnerability with time pressure, alcohol, and weekly public rejection? Spoiler, everything.
I don't know, so apparently Jeremy and Bailey. Yeah. Everyone has a half-boyfriend.
But in the beginning, it worked. The first Bachelor, Alex Michelle, an actual Harvard grad with zero charisma, became a national heartthrob simply by existing in a tux. Viewers ate it up. By the finale, 18 million people were glued to their TVs. Why? Because this wasn't just dating. This was the illusion of destiny, filmed in 4:3 aspect ratio. It was new, it was sparkly, and it gave America what it craved: a love story you could root for and judge at the same time. And when ABC realized the formula worked, they immediately did what any sane network would do. They milked it. The Bachelorette, Bachelor Pad, Bachelor in Paradise, Bachelor in Therapy, unofficial, but give it a year. The show hit a cultural peak in 2003 when Trista and Ryan, the first successful couple, got married live on TV. It was like the royal wedding, but sponsored by Listerine. From there, the Bachelor universe expanded faster than the MCU. And at its core was always the same idea: love can be manufactured. In 6 weeks, with producers and product placement, what could possibly go wrong? Every fairy tale has a turning point. A moment when the glass slipper doesn't fit, the prince gets caught deeming someone else, and the magic starts to smell off. For The Bachelor, that moment came sooner than we realized.
Not have said a word had her team lost and she'd been allowed to come to Mike's party. She's mad because it didn't work in her favor.
At first, the cracks looked like drama, delicious, overproduced, Pinot Grigio-fueled drama. But by season 11, it was clear. The show wasn't about love anymore. It was about casting the perfect villain, the emotionally unstable girl, the there for the wrong reasons guy, the one contestant who's not here to make friends, even though no one asked. And producers, they leaned in, hard. They realized that heartbreak sells, but humiliation sells faster. And if the drama didn't happen naturally, no problem. That's what editing was for. But it wasn't just behind the scenes manipulation raising eyebrows. It was the on-screen chaos.
See if we could go out for a coffee or a drink and see where things...
Take Brad Womack, the Bachelor who made history in 2007 by doing the unthinkable. He picked no one. Nada. Zero. Zilch. He stood on that final platform, stared into the teary eyes of two women and said, actually, I'm good. Fans were outraged, comment sections combusted, Chris Harrison probably had to be sedated, and ABC, they rewarded him by bringing him back for another season, because nothing says America's sweetheart like a man who ghosted 2 women at once. But this was just the beginning. Season after season, the show started feeling repetitive, like a soap opera pretending to be a documentary. Then came the infamous Jason Mesnick switcheroo in 2009. Jason got down on one knee, proposed to Melissa, and then, after the final rose, dumped her live on television for runner-up Molly. Was it real? Was it scripted? Was it the most chaotic commitment backpedal in broadcast history? Not exactly scripted, not exactly real, but absolutely, undeniably ratings gold. Viewers were stunned. Melissa cried, Jason cried. Molly blinked like she was trying to calculate how bad this would look on LinkedIn. It was uncomfortable. It was messy. It was The Bachelor finally admitting what it had become.
Melissa.
Yes.
That is what I was trying to do.
But you don't want to fight for Melissa.
But I can't control my head.
A demolition derby disguised as romance. Because now, love wasn't the product. Humiliation was. In America, we couldn't look away. Still, the audience played along, until the franchise made one fatal mistake: it forgot to evolve. By the 2010s, everything was changing. Audiences were getting smarter. Twitter was becoming a second screen. And people were starting to ask questions like, wait, why are all the leads white? Why does every woman look like she owns a Pinterest wedding board? Where do they even find these people? Abercrombie clearance racks. The diversity problem wasn't subtle, it was glaring. From 2002 to 2017, not a single black lead. Rachel Lindsay finally broke that barrier as the first black bachelorette, but producers bungled it with a contestant who had racist tweets still online. By 2021, Matt James was cast as the first black bachelor.
We live
May
in,
not ever
yeah,
have
look at
everything.
2020. Like, it's just like nothing you ever plan on, it doesn't go according to
Progress, right? Until his frontrunner, Rachel Kirkconnell, got exposed for a plantation party, and Chris Harrison torpedoed his own career trying to defend her. The backlash was instant. Thousands of tweets, ex-contestants speaking out, Chris Harrison stepping away to educate himself. Translation: PR panic mode. ABC tried to patch the sinking ship, but the damage was done. The Bachelor had become the main character on Twitter, and not in a good way. The franchise, once hailed as a fairy tale, now looked more like an HR liability. And while racism was the most public issue, it wasn't the only one. Let's talk about Bachelor in Paradise, 2017. An incident between Corinne Olympios and Demario Jackson led to a complete production shutdown over allegations of sexual misconduct during filming. No one was charged. The footage was never aired, but the message was clear. Maybe putting drunk strangers in bikinis on a beach for 6 weeks isn't a responsible HR strategy.
Stay on for a minute.
Will you give me like 1 more minute?
30 seconds.
Yeah, you can. 30 seconds
I'll do
is
this.
fine. Yes.
Weirdly, the show doubled down, but audiences, they didn't forget. The scandals piled up. From contestants with domestic abuse allegations, to people secretly in relationships during filming, to a literal contestant getting kicked off the show for sleeping with a producer. Yes, that happened. Rosalind Papa, season 14. She said it was innocent. A BC said we'll allow literally anything except employee fraternization. And don't even get us started on Juan Pablo, the first Latino bachelor who quickly became the most hated bachelor after suggesting a gay version of the show would be inappropriate. He later apologized, but it was too late. The rose had wilted. By now, even the leads were turning on the franchise. Rachel Lindsay wrote op-eds about the show's racial insensitivity. Michelle Young threatened to walk if producers didn't take accountability. Matt James said the show wasted its opportunity to have real conversations about race. When your own stars are calling you out, it's no longer just a PR issue. It's a credibility crisis. And the audience, they stopped believing the illusion. We started seeing through the edits. We recognized the manipulation. We realized that the most dramatic season ever was just copy-pasted from last year's script. At some point, The Bachelor stopped being a dating show and became a reality show about pretending to be a dating show. We didn't tune in to watch people fall in love anymore. We tuned in to watch them fall apart, preferably in HD. And if that sounds confusing, don't worry. So was the timeline of Claire and Dale's engagement. Every show has that moment, the one where it stops being iconic and starts being embarrassing.
Last night, take it up with Matt. I
There
am
are
who
10
I
girls
am
here.
here. I am who
There
I
are
am.
10 girls here. Their biggest picture here is to be with Matt.
For The Bachelor, it wasn't just one moment. It was a full parade of what the fuck's in a stretch limo. Let's start with Aerie. In 2018, Ari Luyendyk Jr. proposed to Becca, then dumped her on camera to chase his runner-up Lauren. Jason Mesnick walked so Ari could run. A BC aired the breakup unedited, like a nature documentary on emotional roadkill. It was painful, it was exploitative, it was peak Bachelor, reality TV dressed up as romance. Then came Claire Crawley, whose 2020 season imploded 4 episodes in when she fell in love before filming even started. She ditched the format, got engaged to Dale, and producers scrambled to find a replacement bachelorette like they were short-staffed at Olive Garden. But the crown jewel of chaos? Matt James, the franchise's first black bachelor, cast in 2020 after years of criticism and one very public hashtag, Bachelor So White. It was supposed to be progress, instead it was a PR disaster. His frontrunner, Rachel Kirkconnell, was outed for attending a plantation-themed party. Chris Harrison defended her, then promptly lost his job. The face of the franchise for 19 years was gone, not because of ratings, but because he couldn't shut up on Extra.
When I came here, I promised myself one thing, very simple, ABC, always be Cam.
At this point, the show had officially jumped the shark, crashed into the shark, and asked it to accept a rose. Behind the scenes, things weren't better. Creator Mike Fleiss left in 2023 under accusations of racism. His replacements were later accused of creating a toxic work culture. Meanwhile, ratings tanked. By season 29, viewership hit an all-time low, 2.4 million. A BC put The Bachelorette on hold for the first time ever. And just when you thought it couldn't get weirder, they launched The Golden Bachelor, a senior citizen edition where love blooms between people who actually remember landlines.
I can't live without.
Oh my God! Oh my God!
It was charming, it was sweet, and it made one thing brutally clear. The Bachelor we knew was already dead. So, what exactly is The Bachelor in 2025? It's not romantic, it's not surprising, it's not even fun to hate watch anymore. At this point, it's a glossy, overproduced, algorithm-proof time capsule, like someone tried to bottle 2008 and accidentally added too much spray tan. Let's break it down. The format? Exactly the same since George W. Bush was president. Exotic dates, champagne toasts, confessionals where people cry after knowing each other for 3 days. If someone made a drinking game out of every cliche, you'd be hospitalized before the second rose ceremony. The cast? Clones. Same aesthetic, different Instagram handles. Everyone's either an influencer, a personal trainer, or someone whose job title is suspiciously vague like entrepreneur. Somehow, no one ever has a real job, or a clue. The stakes? Gone. We all know they're not here for the right reasons. They're here for brand deals, podcasts, and a spring break for adults slot on Bachelor in Paradise.
Oh, girl, you in
Am
trouble.
I in?
You in
Oh,
trouble.
okay.
You in trouble, but it's all good trouble.
It's less a dating show, more a LinkedIn seminar with 6-packs. And romance? The one thing this show used to fake pretty well, now it's just vibes. The proposals feel like the finale of The Voice, grand, empty, and instantly forgotten. Even Bachelor Nation has turned. Reddit calls every season the worst one yet. TikTok parodies drop before the episodes even air. Memes outpace plot twists, and recaps are more fun than the show itself, because now we know how the sausage is made. We know producers invent villains and schedule spontaneous dates down to the minute. We know it's fake, but worse, we know it's boring at being fake. Once upon a time, The Bachelor gave us the illusion of love. Now it gives us ads for hair vitamins between crying montages.
Hey, look, and I'm happy. I've been 4 months happy.
I don't know what I'm looking at.
Huh?
I don't know what I'm looking at.
You don't?
It's not a fairy tale anymore. It's a job interview at a beach resort. And the rose, it's not a symbol of romance. It's just a coupon for screen time. Once upon a time, The Bachelor sold a dream. That love could be found. In 6 weeks, under contract, with cameras rolling and a full glam squad on standby. And for a while, we believed it. We bought the fantasy. We watched the tears, the drama, the rose petals falling in slow motion. We didn't even care that it was fake because it was good fake. But somewhere along the way, the fantasy flatlined. Not a love story, not even a guilty pleasure, just filler, endless filler. For the fans, for the spinoffs, for the Instagram reels, for contestants turned influencers selling protein powder between breakup announcements. And now, it's not just tired, it's irrelevant. In a world of dating apps, open relationships, queer visibility, and real conversations about consent and mental health, The Bachelor still acts like it's stuck in a 2004 Hallmark movie with commitment issues.
And honestly, it was just talking about being the Bachelorette, or one of us winning and one of us being the Bachelorette after this. And honestly, like, it was the word winning.
Can it be saved? Maybe, but only if it stops chasing nostalgia and starts telling stories that actually reflect reality. Real people, real stakes, real relationships. And no, not just the most diverse cast ever duct taped onto the same outdated format. Until then, we'll be over here, watching other shows do it better, or just re-watching Unreal, which exposed The Bachelor more honestly than The Bachelor ever could. Or hell, even Love is Blind feels more authentic now. Because The Bachelor didn't just lose love, it lost relevance. And in TV, that's the one thing you can't win back with a rose. Oh, and if you've made it this far, like and subscribe. Tell us in the comments which Bachelor moment made you lose hope and love. And of course, don't forget to accept this rose.